Hello Libra, this is foxastrologyjon Tarot here with your astrology and tarot report for September 2019. This is focused on love or relationships. Be sure to check out the general report that includes more for like general life, work, etc. etc. That report and this report are both for Libra. That's whether you have a Libra Ascendant, Sun, or Moon. If you have a Libra Sun or Moon, be sure to find the reading for your Ascendant sign, as my readings have more information for Ascendant signs, because I can tell more about your natal chart based on your Ascendant sign. I can tell where the houses are, and that can tell me a little bit more about the effect the transit will have in your life during that time. So moving forward, on the 2nd, we have Venus squaring Jupiter, we have the Sun in conjunction with Mars, and we have a loose T-square between Venus, Jupiter, and Neptune. So for romance, for relationships, this is probably not a time to get into serious commitments, serious relationships, unless you are certain that this is not a risk, that there's nothing that you're gambling about, you're nothing that you're really taking a serious risk on, as this transit is going to have you a little scattered, a little bit more interested in trying a lot of different things, like Baskin Robbins kind of thing. So be sure that you're not focused on, well, basically don't try too hard to get too organized during this period. It will be difficult. And so in your relationships, or whether you're single, it's best to maybe organize some fun time for yourself with your friends and to get out, as that will make this transit a little easier. The Ascension card here is talking about balance between maybe your higher calling, maybe your work life has been is going to be a little challenging during this time, and so the balance here is between the higher calling and the physical experience. You may feel a little tempted by having new experiences, trying different things. So the balance here is between that, to sort of moderate your time between your higher calling and having fun and just kind of enjoying your body, enjoying your experience. So on the 10th, we have the Sun in opposition with Neptune. And this is going to be a challenging time for relationships, and for if you're single as well. This is a time to sort of hold off on making big decisions, hold off on maybe committing to things, and hold off on moving past a certain stage of a relationship, as here there's going to be a lot of confusion. Try to avoid committing to serious engagements, serious relationships. Look for really clear answers, look for really concise details, because the red flags may be difficult to notice here, a little bit more difficult than usual. So be sure to slow down, make sure you ask as many questions as you need before you move forward, before you make a decision here. And in general, if you're single, it's probably best to hold off on moving forward with a relationship, a commitment, or meeting a new person until this transit is passed, because later on the 13th, we have the Sun trining Pluto. Now here I have the Lady of Love. In this sense, for you in romance or in relationships, this is a time of feeling empowered, feeling like making changes, feeling like seeking the truth, getting to the bottom of things. And so this would probably be the best time of the month to look for the truth, to notice the red flags, to meet new people, because you're going to be strong, you're going to be centered, you're going to feel comfortable with yourself and feel confident about what it is that you want, what it is you want to do, the things you want to do in this world, the kind of changes you want to make in your life. And so it will become much clearer around you what's going on, and as a result, your relationships will be much clearer to you at this time too. So if you're in a partnership, if you're in a relationship, this is a great time to get together, spend some time getting to know each other, having some solid time together, as this is going to be a time for change. and also for intimacy and for getting to the truth. So I recommend this time for new relationships and for in general time with each other if you're in a relationship. And that's what the Lady of Love here is all about. Honesty, straightforward truth. So later on the 21st, we have Jupiter squaring Neptune. Now in this square, if you are a Libra Ascendant, this square between Jupiter and Neptune is happening between your 5th house and your 2nd house. That's the house of creativity, of sort of an ego-based, risk-taking, creation, all of that stuff, versus the 2nd house, which is a bit more about material possessions. Jupiter in your 2nd house right now is doing really well, increasing abundance, increasing this material sort of, I don't know how else to say it, but sort of fertility, sort of like talking about how this confidence, this boost of activity and sort of an outlook in your material world has really got you feeling positive, feeling optimistic about the situation. And so this square with Neptune may have you a little bit too far, maybe feeling almost like you can take a day off work and relax, but the situation here doesn't really call for that. So when it comes to relationships, don't try to take shortcuts. Try to avoid those shortcuts. Try to look at what will get you to the serious relationship. If that takes time, if that takes effort, that may be what's required in this situation. This card here, the Squire of Swords, is really this young and youthful, sort of immature character. And so in your relationships, this may come across as being more impulsive, taking on more responsibility, thinking that you can handle it because you've got this extra sense of optimism. So be cautious in this if you're in a relationship about maybe having sort of like a cheat day or some sort of shortcut you're taking. Just be cautious around this with your partner. Be sure to stay diligent, stay committed to that. You may feel the temptation to sort of break away from what you've been doing lately, but just be aware that this sort of sense of innocence, or sort of like you're not jaded anymore and you feel really confident, this is a transit. This can have you sort of battling internally over whether or not you should be working or whether or not you should be having fun. So just be mindful of that. And if you're single, this is probably a good time to meet people, but not to develop a relationship further and to move it past. It's not a time to have a define the relationship sort of talk. Probably just to have fun, something in a sense, something just to, take your mind off things. On the 25th, we have Venus squaring Saturn. Now, Saturn moving in to a square with Venus, Saturn tends to take this area of your life, which currently is Sagittarius. So if you have a Libra ascendant, Sagittarius is sitting in your 3rd house. So Saturn making this area of communication sort of a sensitive area in your life. Maybe during this time you're trying to get things right, learn how to say things, learn how to communicate. You may feel like you're maybe even giving advice to other people for communication skills, maybe even writing a lot, trying to get things out, trying to express things correctly, trying to share ideas. But Saturn has a tendency to make this a sensitive area. It has a tendency to make you want to really sort of get so involved with it that it ends up sort of being like where you overanalyze, where you maybe sort of get too controlling in this area of your life, or maybe you try so hard that you overdo it. And so what happens here on the 25th is the stress of responsibility in love ends up making you feel stressed, weary, lonely, divided, maybe even feeling a little, beaten down, dejected, I don't know. And so the key thing here is that this transit on the 25th is a good time for you to rest. Venus squaring Saturn, this is going to make it difficult for you to feel like resting, but it ultimately because you're going to feel like you got to get something done, you got to do something, but ultimately it's going to have you too stressed. And if you're in a relationship, it may have you feeling a little at each other's throats, thinking about what has to be done, thinking about what that person said, if they're really with you or if they're, working against you, that sort of thing. So just relax. The key thing here is to relax, stress, de-stress, take care of yourself, maybe even do some self-care, because, and especially if you can do self-care together with you and your partner, that would probably make it much, much easier to just let go, de-stress, and at the same time manage to spend some time with each other. So, and here's the guy. Four of Love is really talking about that, just feeling like nothing's going your way. It's just time to rest. There's a time to this cycle. Sometimes you just have to wait until you have energy again, until there's another opportunity to do something. Later on the 30th, we have Venus squaring Pluto. Now here, in terms of relationships, in terms of love, this is probably not a time to make moves. There's going to be sort of an energy coming in that's going to make you very, very willful, very interested, very almost infatuated in these plans that you might have, sort of obsessive, trying to accomplish things, because this square between Venus and Pluto has you having a hard time like enjoying yourself, having a hard time really enjoying the beauty of things, taking things for granted, to the point where you may struggle to win, you may struggle to accomplish things, and it may kind of drive you crazy. It may you have the feeling like you can't relax until you get this thing done, until you finally make it past this point that you've just been pushing up against. And so during this transit, I recommend looking at really how you can recognize and note and mentally remind yourself of the things you do have, the things you can be grateful for, especially in your relationships, because this may have you feeling a little paranoid. It may have you feel like you're looking for, does my partner do more than me in the relationship, or do I do more than them in the relationship? Am I holding this relationship together? Are they really putting in enough for me? Who's really in control of the relationship? They say something like this or like that, and you start wondering, what does that really mean? What are they trying to say? Are they trying to do something to me? Are they trying to make me feel a certain way? I don't know. It's just going to start making you feel a little crazy. So recommend to really make some notes to yourself mentally, what you can be grateful for, what you have already done, what you already have, especially maybe note what your partner has done for you to help you move forward, to help you accomplish the goals that you have. And getting in that state of mind can really help. If you're single, this may have you a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more seeking to find a partner that will sort of submit, I guess you could say, sort of play along with your plans, because it's going to be really important to you at this time. Now, if you're looking for that kind of partner in the first place, I guess technically it's not a bad time to meet some new people, but otherwise I would recommend sort of staying in, as this obsessive behavior may have you looking over or missing out on those red flags. You're going to be more worried about getting what you want, and that may have you missing out on some details that could end up biting you in the butt later. So we've got a couple of key points here in the month, opportunities for you to really make some big strides in your relationship if you're in one. And if you're single, or if you're just generally waiting, this is a good time this month for some transformation, some work on yourself, as there's going to be some confusion, there's going to be some stress, there's going to be some sort of obsessive tendencies. Working through this will really allow you to make some big steps if you're on your own, to really knowing yourself more, figuring some more things out. I feel like this month is a big shift in life purpose, in life calling, passion, higher calling, that sort of thing. So I feel like love, you have a few opportunities here in the month but ultimately the focus here is on straightening the path out, figuring out where you really want to go. And if you think about it, when you do figure that out, it is going to help you matching with a partner that really wants the same thing in life and can really support you on that journey. So I look forward to your feedback. Please let me know how I'm doing with a like. You can comment and let me know how this month went for you. Let me know your experience with this, and I'd love to hear back from you. As always, you can subscribe and catch next month's report for October, as well as my weekly readings and my transit information, where sometimes I go a little bit more in depth on the bigger important transits like eclipses and that sort of thing. So look forward to hearing from you. Have a good month. Peace out.